Hey, there we are.
There we are. It did capture us pretty well. We've got a new angle. So I'm back. Hello, it's me, Laura Jane, with John Myers Childers.
Fantastic.
Yes, and we're dropping in here. We're in John's home studio, which is a pretty magical space. I'm pretty excited to be here. And yeah, I decided I would say this to you as we start, but I feel just so honored to get to do this with you. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I know you and I are both passionate about how yoga is being shared on the planet right now in ways we want to enhance that, right? Mm-hmm. And this feels like some of the most important work I could be doing in yoga right now, to have this kind of conversation with you and whatever happens with it, whoever watches it, however we get to share it. So really, I do. I feel like this is exciting, how we can help through what happens in this conversation and who picks it up and how we get it out there. So, yeah.
Well, I think that we are in a time between stories. You know, we for so long we had materialistic explanation, ego development, individual rights, sovereign nations, sovereign individuals, and that's all changing, I think. Well, I'm sure it's all changing. We're developing a sense of global coherence, as the heart math people would say, that we're all resonating from our heart centers out. We are all creating electromagnetic fields that are resonating with the earth and resonating with others. And so I think we're in this time of actually the evolution of consciousness, which I also think, you know, yoga is evolving too. You know, sometimes people would like to say, you know, oh, the ancients got it right. Okay. Does that mean that the universe is not expanding, that life is not evolving, and that somehow yoga is not expanding and evolving like the rest of life? So of course yoga is evolving, and of course yoga is expanding. And so I think we're at this very interesting time, where Sri Aurobindo describes it. You know, up until very recently, yoga was all about renouncing. Go up on the hill, your blanket, your rice, your bowl. Perfect. I have found the divine presence. The rest of the world is chaotic. I'm fine with my divine presence. We now know where every tree, where every cave, where every hilltop is on Google Maps. Global pollution affects every mountaintop. I do not believe that we can, at this time between stories, really I think we're going from a sort of separate individual sense of consciousness to a global sense of consciousness. And we don't really quite know how that all works yet. But see, I think that's what you were calling to when you said, this is somehow important. You feel that this is somehow important. And I think that what we are looking to do is we connect on the internet, on this internet web, then we actually, this helps us to figure out how to connect on the web of life net. You know, have you ever seen the telepathic people talk about the outer net?
No.
Oh, yeah. And they talk about cranial sacral work, the parietals of your skull. And as you inhale, they lift. As they exhale, they drop. The whole point getting back to this resonating quality that we are all telepathic. And we just have sort of, we're not we're not honoring it. We're all empathetic. We're just not honoring it. Like, don't take it personally. It's business, which is just a piece of, that's just not. That's a rather low perspective. It's all right. Yeah. So anyway, that's sort of my feeling that we're in this new time of stories, going from a sense of individual consciousness to really a global consciousness. I think that's really what the evolution of consciousness or humanity is, and that I think that yoga is going to embrace that.
And I love that we can see that that's really, like, again, the deeper meaning of yoga being about union and connection, and so we are actually experiencing that more than ever and realizing that. And
our union is expanded. Our union has expanded from our local community or our local nation state or our local religion. It's now expanded. Our unity now includes not just the Pacific Ocean, but it's one ocean.
Yeah.
And so we now are. It's not just the United States. You can't separate this device that we're on. Is a global device. So I think that we're headed to this evolution of they use derogatory terms. Groupthink, collectivism. And that somehow you will lose your individuality if you feel empathy and telepathy. Think about it. Think about it. If I don't feel any empathy, well, I can be very secure in my individuality. But the moment I start feeling empathy and telepathy, then all of a sudden, your happiness is really important to me. Your health and well-being is really important because I can feel your sadness. I can feel your joy. And then even on telepathy, well, I hear your anguish. I resonate with your joy. So now I think the language that I like seeing around is that as we all lift up into enlightenment, and we all do it just for a moment, you have that moment in the forest, wow, I'm just one with the trees. You have that face of a new baby, wow, I'm just one with life. And then all of a sudden we come back, and then we go back down and we lose our moment of oneness, our moment of unity. But now what we're doing is, through tools like this, through practices like yoga, and we can, prayer, meditation, we can, as we lift up into these moments of unity or holistic consciousness, biosphere empathy, as we lift up, we lock hands, and so that we lock arms, so that we don't go back down into that woe is me, and we can hold ourselves up, and that's hopefully what we're doing here.
Yes, yeah, and really what you are helping me realize too is this idea of feeling more connected, and this interbeingness seems like it should just be like beautiful heavenly feeling, but it's actually, we're also feeling the pain of that too, right? That's part of, I think, why a lot of people are feeling the depths of the feelings and the real intense experiences more than ever, maybe.
Absolutely.
Because that's what, now that we're more realizing our connection and feeling it, that's not just easy and pretty, right? There's like a lot that's going with that, even though it's worth it, right? To feel it. And
glorious sadness. Bittersweet. It's one of the definitions of a spiritual person is they laugh more and they cry more.
Yeah, right. I felt so aware of that. I've never heard that saying, but yeah, I found that to be true.
And so, which I think you bring up is this point earlier that we're in time between stories. Up until now, your psychology was somehow just about you. But the moment we bring in empathy, telepathy, the collective unconscious, archetypal imagery, the Akashic record,
Yeah.
any of these things that sort of have like the noosphere or that have a overall arch that encompasses us all. So we have this transpersonal psychology that, when the world is in stress, we feel stressed. And so we keep wanting to say, I'm gonna go back to the mountaintop, and I'm gonna be separate. That might have been fine as we developed a sense of individualism. But that sense of individualism rising to, communities, states, nation states. But I think we're now witnessing the end of nation states. I mean, you might want to think that we have a little bit of like the Brexit pulling back, but they got nowhere to go with that. We really want to create not just a European Union, but a global union. Come on, it's one atmosphere, it's one ocean. And so we'll start to look at everything holistically.
Yeah.
Like our emotions and our psychology, our health and our well-being is directly related to the health and well-being of others. And when your health and well-being is better, then my health and well-being is better too.
Yeah, so it really expands the definition of holistic to realize that includes other people and our connection to all things. And now that I'm kind of working with that, right, as part of our
right. So we don't have to have selfless service. It's all like, it's just service because again, it's this law, it's this ego. I did it myself. I'm separate from you. If I did it, how come you can't do it? No one does that. You can't. You drive down public streets. You use math created by the Greeks. You like, come on.
Yes.
We're all working this together. And so I think that's where we're at. We're a sense of interbeing, a sense of co-creation, where we really honor and respect our intuition and our feelings as that they matter. That they matter.
Yeah, that's interesting. So how do you feel like that's related, that becomes as important as ever with this evolution of consciousness?
The expression that we were all told as kids was, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. There is no greater lie spoken on the face of the planet. If you tell someone, I hate you, immediately your immune system depresses. If I say, I love you, immediately your immune system improves. It's not like maybe. They've done zillions of researches on this. So the words do matter to our physical body. And so when we spread hate and fear in the world, this is actually damaging to our physical bodies. To say nothing of our emotional bodies or our mental bodies.
Yeah.
This is vicious. It's vicious. I don't like it. Within the context of that the words matter. It is helpful to remember that there is more healing power in stating what you are for than what you are against. When in this time of interbeing, or this time moving from sovereign individual states to a sense of global coherence and embracing the true family of humanity, that we state the positive things that were the healing things, so we don't spout hate towards people we disagree with, towards Trump. Again, I'm always like, I'm just sending Trump peaches every time. I'm just like, you know. I somehow, you know, and it's the heart of the world to be open. And I really think women are going to lead the way, by the way. Really, it's the women that are going to do it. It's really, I think we're having the world global revolution. Remember, yoga was always done by men. Wait a minute, let's try that again. Yoga, oh no, that was all men writing this stuff down. Now, we have women arising on the scene. You know, fantastic women. You know, in the yoga community, you see people. Meryl Bender Birch, I thought was quite brilliant. I would say Mama Jyoti Verdon, but you know, Angela Farmer. You know, there's a lot of people who've been doing great work for a long time. And I mean, Sean Corn, the latest face. And I think that we are the men hold the ego side of the yoga, and the women tend to sometimes pull into that, as if in the 70s we had women in suits, in which somehow, if putting women in men roles would somehow make that okay, when there was deplorable behavior by men. What we really wanted to do is not put women in suits, we just want to change the behavior. And so we don't want, I really believe that what we see now is this calling out the real unity, where all of a sudden people concerned about the environment are connected to people with immigration, are connected to people with women's rights, are connected to sustainability. They're coming together and realizing it is the consciousness of wholeness, of oneness, of interbeingness that is bringing, that is the solution, that is the way, and that so that even the social political groups, they realize that it's not about saving the planet and ignoring the plight of women. It's not about creating equality for women and ignoring the plight of homeless. That that these issues are all woven together.
Wow, that was such a so powerful sentence there, where you said the consciousness of interbeing is the solution.
Yes.
That's what you said.
Yeah, exactly. We wake up and join the tribe of all life on earth.
Yeah.
We wake up and join the tribe of all life on earth.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the trees.
I love that. We wake up and join the tribe of all life on earth. That's like this wonderful invitation. Wake up and join the tribe, right? It's almost like a Walt Disney film. Come on, right?
I love that.
It can be that way.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like, because it's waking up and celebrating life as opposed to fearing death.
Yeah.
No, this is really fundamental, because our entire economy, political state, and you can say, oh, that doesn't affect me. Bullshit. Right. It all
Even
affects
if
you.
you're
live in
not paying attention.
Yeah. When the language of the day is hate and fear and war, you have to work 10 times harder to say, I'm sorry, I take it personally. I take it personally that you're ripping off laborers in the global south, that you're polluting the rivers so that I can have this t-shirt cheap.
Yeah. So waking up on all sorts of levels. That's probably always expanding.
And you know, I think really that when you say all levels, see, we sort of just was thinking that it was just one level. It's like the chemical level. Better living through chemistry as opposed to better living through love, better living through happiness, better, you know. When we wake up and join the tribe of all life on earth.
Yeah. And how much do you feel like that has been some of the original intention with yoga?
Only the very, 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 very ancient.
Yeah. And then kind of maybe got a little lost and buried.
I think everything, look, let's not delude ourselves. There is brain science now, neurophysiology. They can tell you exactly what section of the brain is really taking care of what.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know exactly what part of the brain will move my right little finger. It's about midsection of my left hip. Yeah. What happened 2,000 years ago was the development of the written language. Well, that's all in the left hand. And of course, as written language was developed, the sort of right brain, goddess, music, art, holistic, everything interrelated side has been diminished. So the entire reality of the world was reduced to numbers and letters.
Wow.
And so you did not explain things through the cosmic heart or the divine feminine or even anything. You described everything with numbers and letters.
Yeah.
We are at the end of that age. Mostly because this device is so much more than numbers and letters. Actually, this device has a screen with pictures. So you see the faces, which stimulates a whole different side of the brain, by the way. And considering that hardly anybody reads anymore, but everybody's looking at pictures, they're actually developing their left-handed right brain, which actually could be part of this whole switch. It's a different way of thinking.
Wow. Yeah.
If everything is numbers and letters, then when you look out the world, all you see are separate trees, like numbers and letters. My tree is strong. I'm going to be a tree. Whereas before that, you looked at the world, you did not see numbers and letters, so you did not see trees at all. You saw forest. You saw a forest.
Wow.
You could not separate the tree from the forest. You could not separate the individual from the forest or the family of humanity. So this notion that you could be separate has been entrenched in our thoughts for the last 2,000 plus years.
Wow.
Which, by the way, our entire culture is right-handed, left brain, male-dominated, problem-solving sections of your brain. Right? All the doors are all right-handed. Everything is all, you know. Yeah, right. So, so our entire orientation is to not be whole, but to be parts.
Yeah. And how much building in that level of perception and use of the symbols has shifted our perceptions and changed our attention and
right.
So fascinating.
And so yoga was really yoga in part was how to be a whole and happy individual.
Yeah.
Though I'd like to remind people that yoga is the reemergence of yoga in the national scene. Remember, India was a British colony for like 200 years. Oh yeah, They kind of like took out a lot of their national pride stuff. And that what's really important to remember that is yoga was part of India's national identity, and that a lot of the yogis were arrested by the British because they were in favor of India's independence. Sri Aurobindo, who I like so much, who talks about yoga is all of life, and that if enlightenment doesn't change society or my world or your surroundings, it's rather an empty. He leaves an empty taste in his mouth. So he thinks that your enlightenment should be reflected in your relationships.
Oh man, yeah.
Right? And then in your world. Right? Now, he was arrested by the British because, he also was sort of advocating for the independence of India. And then he became more and more spiritual. And of course, India got its independence, and he became more deeper entrenched in. Actually, he was a great believer in women and relationships and love as healing as well. They'll probably edit this out. I believe that the current yoga movement in the United States has the potential to be fodder for the growth of this interbeing consciousness, which will ultimately result in the dissolution of sovereign states, and instead create an interdependent state or a global coherent state. I'm talking about political, social institutions.
Yeah.
So now that's my secret dream. I'm sure if I was on Facebook and if I was the CIA, which they might be watching, but the problem is you can't really conceptualize this. Even when I tell you this, you keep thinking that it's a separate individual that's going to change the world, like the second coming of Christ. There is no second coming of Christ. There is no individual leading this movement. Just like there was no individual at Occupy Wall Street. God, they wanted to find it. Who's the guy? The FBI wanted, who's in charge of this? They said, no one. What do you mean, no one? Well, everyone. We're all in charge of this. So, as we link arms, as we lift ourselves up into higher consciousness through moments of nature or union with others or deep prayer and meditation, and we lift ourselves up into a sense of unity and being, we start to see a world without artificial borders. The first artificial border is your skin-encapsulated ego. Somehow, this is my border around me. I'm a skin-encapsulated ego. I'm separate from you. I'm unaffected by you. It's business. Don't take it personally. I don't take anything personally. Of course, this is a death sentence. It's a crappy life. But that's the first separation, is your ego bubble. But, the next really sort of thing like, national states. Oh, this is America. I'm America. I'm wrapped up here. I got a border around me. I got this separation around me too. It's time to unwind all that. And these artificial borders are now becoming permeable. And I think that we will see rise. The women are going to do it. The women are going to do it. You see, women can see, sense interbeing so easily. Because they give birth. They are the essence of interbeing. I think sometimes the men hold on to their ego because they lack a sense of interbeing, or they lack their ability to create the divine presence through art and music. They should just try a little bit harder, and that if we could somehow start to realize that we are not skin encapsulated egos, that we don't really want to be separate individuals. Solely. We're unique individuals, yes. Yet we're inseparable. And this is the wisdom philosophy. And so we'll have a little more of a wisdom philosophy in the future. Okay, that's a lot. I said a lot.
But important. Wow. And, so I'm wondering, maybe an interesting question to bring it back to the individual nowadays. How do you feel like we might optimally maybe use some of our practices and such to best work with this truth that we're all so connected, this more inner being consciousness, this more energetic awareness, so that we are ready to make the most of that and have that impact we do want to have, and have the consciousness and the awareness, and
I keep wanting to put it into like some sort of gesture.
Yeah.
It's one love. It's one love.
One love. We gotta start that. The one L.
Yeah, it's the one love. Whatever is in the vacuum space of the quantum field of the atom, it's either intelligence, it's love, it's consciousness, it's something, but love is about as good as we can get. So when you in your practice, one of the first things you want to find is love for your love. You're all power, discipline. What you really want to find is love. And I'm back to the Beatles. I mean, it sounds so corny. All you need is love. But see, that's because you have all those weird attachments, and you've been taught that you need money to live, not that you need clean air, clean water, fresh food. Now, those are you need money, because money. The myth that they tell you is that's how you get clean air, and clean water, and clean food. Wait out. It's confusing if you think about it. Money doesn't guarantee clean air, does it? Matter of fact, it might be leading to the opposite. And you can't actually buy that air, can you? You're just forced to breathe it no matter wherever you are. The ocean. So I think that when we really, it's the materialism, and the materialism, so I need money as a manifestation of materialism. And people say, it's energy managed. I understand all that. That's materialism still. And it's healthcare for profit. It's bad business, no matter how you cut it. So I think we have to go to love. Love is the thing. I think. Yeah. It's back to women. It's back to women. It's back to women. Really, you're loving women, or you're loving yourself, or you're loving the kids, or you're loving your neighbors, or you're loving the dogs, or you're loving the plants, or you're loving.
Yeah. That's really the essence could be the essence of our yoga practice, especially, is back to love,
Because
finding the love, being the love.
Right, because what is consciousness? If it doesn't include an aspect of love. If not.
Wow, it's a very different consciousness if it doesn't include an aspect of love, right? It's like...
Right. Yeah. So, I think, we want to go... We want to free the love, free the women.
Right now I know it's not even something to laugh about.
I mean, like when I see women bringing their 4-year-old child coming from someplace in Central America where she's literally being raped by the police or raped by her husband. When she complains to the police, they just turn their eye, or the gang violence or whatever. And they will literally walk thousands of miles and arrive at our border and have their children separated. These women are going to say, look, I'm not going to be oppressed like this anymore. And if I have to be oppressed like this, I'm going to let it be a statement to the world. You know, and the abuse of women in domestic scenes is just, you know, it's all over the world. And the incompleteness that men feel, or the, you know, they in our monetized world, you know, men can feel worthless unless they have money or possessions or, you know, land. And so they could take their frustrations out on their wives, and this, of course, happens all the time. So if we were to make love the goal, not making money the goal, you see how sick it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like your whole response right there was like, wait a minute, oh. Yeah.
And it does just feel, it like feel, you feel it in your body, the different energy of
you
that.
feel it in your body.
Yeah.
You know, don't try to think it in your mind. It doesn't help. You can talk your way out of anything. When you feel it in your body, it's like that was a moment. So I think that, and we see this, we see it in many ways related to domestic animals. I mean, I think the dogs phenomena, you know, you used to be able to like beat, kick your dogs. You do that in public now, and people are really like, you know, no, you can't be.
Yeah.
Dogs are conscious, and
It shows that we are softening and getting more compassionate.
and you see it with the people who are, you know, filming factory farming. And how, you know, this is really, if you can do this, I mean, think about it. We're somehow okay with jailing and basically torturing pigs, chickens, giant prisons. We're somehow okay with that. We've gotten better on dogs. Of course, we used to do it to people. Oh, wait a minute. We're still putting... Oh, but they're not people. They're immigrants. When they become citizens of the United States, somehow then they become people? I don't know. When the animal somehow starts speaking English, then it's somehow a person? I don't know. All life is conscious. This is caging, torturing... Or not torturing. Abusing. Neglecting, irreverence.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell one story. I've been a vegetarian, on and off. I've read John Robbins' book, A Diet for a New America. He said if we just eat 10% less beef, we'd all probably be able to solve a whole lot of it. I'd say maybe 20, 30%. But that doesn't solve some of the problems of factory farming. Watch this. This guy from Zimbabwe I just saw. I posted it. No one sees it. People all gotta see. This guy in Zimbabwe, the desertification of the planet. By the way, humanity is sometimes like a virus. We're destroying the planet. Remember, the Sahara used to be it's just a vast desert. Oh, let's see. Afghanistan. Oh, yeah, let's see. Oh, yeah. Vast portions of India and Pakistan. Oh, yeah. Iraq. Oh, yeah. Syria. Oh, Mongolia. Australia. Wait a minute. All that's going to desert. Very bad. Oh, yeah, we're destroying the Amazon, going to desert to make plots for animal livestock. So this guy's solution? More livestock, not less. Everybody says, what do you mean? How's that possible? He says, it's how you treat the livestock. You created these crazy borders. Yeah, fields over here and kept the cattle over there. That's not that. Those are artificial. That's like drawing the line between my psychological, my nation state. We got grass over. He says the secret is to go back to holistic livestock management with biomimicry.
Huh.
You ever hear the term biomimicry?
No.
Biomimicry is one of the most important terms. It's
Okay.
in design based upon nature,
Ooh.
mimicking nature.
Okay. Yeah.
So the
Ooh,
bullet
okay.
train
Ah.
in Japan, they were having trouble with it goes through tunnels and things, was creating shock waves and things like this, and they trying to figure out how. So he studied the bird beaks, and the beaks are like the kingfisher who can like plunge through water, and so
Okay.
they made the shape of the bullet train
Okay.
like a bird's beak,
yeah.
actually to solve the problem.
Ah.
How were herd ungulate creatures, hoofed creatures, goats, cattle, wildebeest, those things? How did nature grow them? And he says, well, he said it was with predators. You got a herd, the lions come, shit, we gotta move. They go over to here. We gotta move. So that the lives, he says, we should mimic the natural herds. So he would take herds and he would what happens is the hooves tear up the grass and they poop and they shit and this. So he would make these portable corrals that were lion-proof. I love that, lion-proof corrals, portable. And every day that they take the goats and the cattle and whatever it is, and they would let them out to graze, and then they put them into this corral, and then they shit and they poop and they tear up the soil.
Right.
But then this fertilizes the soil,
yeah.
and then they would take this plot of soil. And they'd either let it be grass for next year, or they would plant vegetables there. And then they would move the herd in strategic ways, mimicking how the herds would have been chased by lions.
Yeah.
Biomimicry.
That does sound like an exciting answer, right? And mimicking how it was biologically designed to work. Makes sense.
And now, but we're now the predators, the human beings. But we're managing them like they were managed before.
Yeah.
And then this would solve all our livestock, all our factory farming concepts for pigs and cattle.
Yeah.
And of course, I just didn't like do the same thing. And we use them to till and fertilize the soil, and we stop separating everything out. We go back to that holistic notion of relating things. So that's I'm going to post it 100 times because this guy's convinced. He went down into another area for desertification is the Andes. The ocean breeze come up in Chile, and it takes all the water out of the air as it rises up and drops all the water on top of the Andes. So that in front, just sort of like in California, we have deserts here, but there's this huge deserts on the hillsides. And he took a herd. He said, we have to make it bigger because he wanted this valley is going to like desert.
Yeah.
And he took a herd of 25,000 sheep with a bunch of these farmers, these herders, and they would systematically take this herd and they would, tear this soil up, poop and shit all over it.
Yeah.
And then they would go, and then they'd take the herd and they'd roll over here and they'd watch it, and then and they go back and forth until they got the whole valley regreened.
Yeah. And the animals are being treated kindly, and the earth's getting what it's built to get. So wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is beautiful.
Wow.
And that just shows what's possible with our evolution of consciousness, right? Is that we can allow these kind of genius solutions, right? Yeah.
We have to be open to them because they're new ways of thinking. It's really a new way of thinking.
Yeah.
It's really a new way of thinking in which the divine feminine is present in our world. The woman is present in our world. The group, you can call it groupthink, you can call it collectivism, you can call it communism, you can call it cooperation, you can call it coherence. You can call it anything. When two or more are present, there's something extra. Let's not reduce ourselves down to a society of individuals. Let us raise ourselves up into a society of humanity.
Oh, wow. A society of humanity, like remembering the humane in humanity, right? Mm.
Thank you.
Wow. Pretty important stuff has come through. Anything you want to add in maybe before we probably filled our time knowing us?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think that it's an expanded sense of self. It creates a sense of interbeing self. And the glue that really holds it together is love.
Pretty eloquent. I think I'm going to have to go back and pull out some exceptional one-liners that came through here today.
Let's do that.
Yeah, we'll do that. So good. Thank you.
We want to tune into the back of the head.
Mm-hmm.
We want to tune into the heart. And we want our hearts to inform our head. Listen to the divine truth. Follow your intuition. And it's not intuition. Oh, it's your gut feeling. Remember, you are a biome of trillions of bacteria. There are more bacteria than you, in you, than there are more little creatures in you, than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy.
Whoa.
You are like a galaxy of life. Don't be so wrapped up in some noun version of yourself. Be really, come on. When you really feel the timeless qualities of yourself, you feel love. You feel creativity. And you can stop, and I think that we can all start to interlink arms together and help lift us up into this perspective of interbeing, of holistic thinking of life. And really, and then, your happiness won't be dependent upon getting a new car. Your happiness will be dependent upon you resonating with the moment, the eternal, timeless moment, filled with love, filled with consciousness and creativity and possibilities. How could I ever feel sad and worried when this spark still breathes within me? Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you all for being here.